everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Violet.
And I'm Ruby.
And today we're taking a look at wild gardens, forage food, and find friends. So in this game, you are wandering around parks.
We were? I thought we were just in the forest or something.
I guess the forest, right? But it could be a park. Not like a playground park, but like a national park or whatever. I don't know. You wander around parks and forests and things, foraging food, then cooking that to tempt people to come and eat with you who are strangers. I'm making it sound creepier than it is.
We're eating food. I thought we were just giving them
we were
random
chefs.
food.
Yeah, we are chefs. We're like, hey.
They blindly trust us and give us money for whatever we pick out of the ground.
I found some mushrooms and some berries. Would you like to eat this? I'd be like, I'm full. Although I will say, the food in this game looks really delicious.
It does.
Yeah.
The artist did a really good job. So let's take a look at how it plays, and we'll be right back. In this game, players are going to pick their character, and you will get that character. Your board, you have your forager on the board, and then you have these tokens, 1, 2, 3, 4, as well as a 1 through 4. You're going to be playing through 2 different trips. There's a trip board that will be near it, and that trip board is you're going to randomly turn over a card. And so, for example, if I'm playing in Denver, Colorado here, there's a special ability that's going to happen. At the beginning of each day, each player can forage twice or gain the following 3 ingredients. And so everyone has a chance to do that. And then the back of another card is going to have effect near the end of the day. What players are going to do, they're going to be going through 3 days on their trip. And in each day, you're going to pick one of your actions. Here, you have a double forage, you have a cook, recipe, or serve, and you have a research or reserve action. Whichever action you pick, you're going to, the number of this token that you put here is how far you'll move, following the arrows. So 1, 2, 3, that's where I would move. If someone else is already in a spot, so if this person goes 3, they'd go 1, you skip over 2, 3. And so on this side of the board, you're going in circles. On the other side of the board, you kind of just rotate around the board if you want to. Now, after you move, you'll take your action. So this here says forage twice. Forage twice. These tokens, which are placed randomly at the beginning of the game, you're going to get 2. Every spot is next to 3 of these tokens. So here I'm next to flowers, berries, and onions, and I get 2 of those. So I'll just take 2 of those tokens. So maybe I'll take 2 of these and put them by my board. You're going to keep track of all your different tokens. So that's one thing that you can do. Another thing you can do if you're at a picnic area is you can cook. So next to the board, there's going to be 6 face-up recipes. And there's all kinds of recipes in this game, all of them unique. They all have a featured ingredient, which is on the other side. Sometimes something will tell you to take the featured ingredient, and they all are different types. Some are a drink, some are breakfast, some are dessert, but they all have a certain number of ingredients. This needs 5 leaves, 2 mushrooms. You pay that, you get 5 points. In this game, you have 2 scoring tracks. You have a pollinator, which is just going to be moving. That would give me 5 points. And you have a jar, which can move, but the jar jumps farther and is much harder to move. Only a few things will make the jar move. Now, so that's cooking. Then we also have serving. There will also be 6 face-up people next to the board, and you can serve them. Each of them, and this guy just wants breakfast. This guy wants a snack, and then one of anything. This guy just wants dinner. So then they're going to give you points. They'll also give you these clear jars, which I'll talk about in a second. And they also might do something. This guy says, when served, reserve a card. This person you can discard to get 4 of whatever the main ingredient is at that point in time. And so you're collecting these people also. Some of them have game end scoring on them by serving. Then you can also reserve cards. You can take either a person or a recipe and reserve it. And as a bonus, you also get 2 points. And then finally here, you can do research. When researching, you'll go to the library and you'll borrow a book there. Now the book, you can borrow any book you want. You'll put that book on your board, and each player's board has spaces for 2 books on them. So once you borrow 2 books, you can't do this again unless you return a book, and the way to return a book is simply pay the ingredient that's on that book. But then you'll take this icon next to it and you'll put that on your board. What that means is I can make this a triple forage spot, or I can cook and forage, or I can research and forage. Or this one just says if I end my turn next to the flowers, I get 2 of them. Or here, whenever I can take the main ingredient and get a point. So there are lots of these, and you can make your actions better by taking them. So players are placing out, they're going to use all 5 of these workers. When they're done with their 5th worker, then in turn order, each player is going to rest. You're going to pick one of these workers and place it here on the board to end the day and get whatever the bonus is on this card. Take 2 acorns, reserve a card, and get a victory point, forage, and cook, whatever it might be. One of them always is move the jar token. Pay these to move the jar token. And the number of spaces you move your jar token is equal to the number of empty jars you have. Here you have only 1, but some characters will give you an extra jar. So if you have 3 or 4, you can move your jar token farther. Whichever worker you use to get whatever bonus, you won't have for day 2. And in day 2, you get rid of another worker. In day 3, you'll get rid of a 3rd worker. Then after you've gone through all 3 days, you'll get all your workers back. You'll start a whole new trip, and you'll have a new location that you're going to, which will also reveal a new back of the card here. After you go through 2 whole trips, you're going to add up your scores. Most of the points are going to come during the game. Your pollinator is going to be moving very far. Your jar will also be moving. You'll add those together. Leftover ingredients give you a few points, and a few other things will go on in the game, but that's basically how it plays. I also want to point out here, we didn't do as much of this in ours, but there are solo scenarios with tons of story. There's each of the different characters will occasionally say a statement on them. So you'll see they say 115. So you might have to look that up in the booklet. But there's like a whole stories and things you can go through to try to beat these scenarios in the solo variant. This game is really simple if you think about it. You are just collecting stuff, and turning it in to get the recipes, then turning recipes in to get people.
Yeah.
What did you think? Okay, so there's several things I want to know what your thoughts are. What do you think on the upgrades, where you made your special actions better? Your actions better with special abilities.
That was neat, despite the fact that I only got, 2.
You got any at all? I honestly forgot. You had, none for the majority of the game.
I think you have to do that, though, right? So if I can change my forage into getting 3 things, I have a huge advantage on people who don't. So the problem is you have to kind of figure out, you have to do those earlier in the game to get the most out of them. But I also let you do things like, I'm going to forage and cook, and I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
What did you think about the workers that you place, that's how far you move, but then you give one up each round to get a special ability?
I thought that was really interesting. It would limit the amount of movement you have, and all the players would be different in their types of movement. And it's not like it's all random. You can choose, and you have to carefully decide what I want and what I'm losing if I choose this.
I didn't really think too hard about which one I was losing, other than don't use the 1 through 4. But
yeah, 1 through 4 was always the last one I would use.
But yeah, I agree with what Violet said. It makes the movement different, and yeah.
Once you take those things out, the game is pretty basic. You're just collecting stuff and turning it in. And you can turn in stuff to get small amounts. I'm going to do these small meals that give a few points, but do more of those. And then I can use those to bring in more people, or I can just save up and do really big meals that give me more points. But then there's also the 2 different kinds of points, the jars versus the pollinator. Pollinator is just your normal points, but the jars only move most of the time at the end of a turn, and you have to pay some resources to do it. Is it worth it?
Yeah. I would
If you
think
do
so.
it enough, yeah.
If you get all the right people with the right certain types of cards, you can get a ton of points at the end for 2 small resources.
Yeah, in our last game, I'm pretty sure that's why I won. Because I really pushed the jars. And I think that's a neat mechanism. And there's also endgame scoring. The different people do the endgame scoring. It's kind of an enjoyable game. It's pleasant. There's definitely interaction in it, because I'll sit there and go, I really want to go to that spot you went to. Or let's say at the very beginning of a game, a rude person will see the ingredients another person is gathering and then reserve that recipe.
Okay, to be fair,
Yeah,
I was planning on doing that recipe anyway, but then I saw that you were going to finish it, and I didn't want that, so...
You didn't even have any of the resources.
I was trying to get them. It was really difficult. They were on the opposite side of the map for me.
So some of that's involved. It says 90 to 120 minutes in the box. I think it's closer to 90. I don't think it's a particularly long game. But I will say that part of the game is just how neat it looks. I was telling you guys, it feels like almost like a anime type world where everyone is like friends with woodland creatures and...
You said, like, specifically Ghibli or whatever.
I feel like she's the only one that's friends with a woodland creature. That hurt.
Well, they're like all over the place, and there's...
Yeah, all of
like,
the player boards have these little plant...
Yeah, and you can
things.
feed, like... You've, like, fed a cat one time or something. There's
Wait,
different...
You did?
Or was it a frog or
Oh, yeah.
something? Yeah, there's, like, different things that will show up.
Raccoons.
So it's kind of like a magical... Like, everyone in this world is happy. Like, you're like, hey, I'm making some food. You want to join me? And people are like, sure. I don't know how often that would happen in real life.
Yeah.
I would, in fact, encourage you guys to not do that if you were at a place and the guy said, hey, I just made some stuff out of the weeds I found over here. I want you all to say, no, thank you, and keep moving.
But what if it looks good as stuff on these pictures?
Oh, that's tricky then, right? Great art in this game.
is.
Really fantastic. And I like that the board and the thing are double-sided to get different pieces of artwork there. But overall, it's kind of a fresh. It just feels.
Literally.
Well, yeah, but it feels simple and easy. I think if you like the game that this reminds me most of is almost like Flamecraft. Remember the game with the dinosaur, the little dragons,
I guess.
and you were collecting stuff for that one. This has a similar feel to that. I think if you like one, you'll like the other. What would you rate it?
I'd say 8.5. It's a lot of fun, it's fairly simple to learn, but it has enough unique mechanisms to make it distinct from other games.
Okay.
Plus, the art is gorgeous.
Yeah, there's just a lot of cool, and it's all different too. I think every, not only is every dish different, every guest is different, and the unique ingredients on the back of the cards are also different.
I'd give this one, honestly, a 9. Like,
Wow.
yeah. I didn't have any issues with the game at all, and I thought the point system was very unique and interesting, because, like, half the time it's always just, like, get these amount of points, and they never, like, include, like, another whole point system that can flip the entire game around. I really liked all the artwork, and I liked how, like, both flippable sides of the map are completely different. Like, one, you have to, like, intricately plan how you're gonna move around the board, the other one's just kind of, like, run around in a circle.
I think they're more similar than you think, but
No,
okay.
I still say it's, like... It takes a lot more effort to do the one in the circle. I really liked all the buffs you could get, and like you guys said, the artwork is phenomenal, and I really like the game.
All right, well now it's going to sound like I hate it.
Oh, okay.
I'll give it a 7.5. I found it to be very enjoyable, very pleasant, collecting resources, making dishes, but also with some nice strategies, and also the game both accelerates and decelerates because you lose a worker each day, and you get them all back, and you lose one each day, but you're also getting more resources and things to do. So there's a lot of cool things in this game. So that is Wild Gardens. I'm Tom Basil.
I'm Violet.
And I'm Ruby.
And we're about to go eat some dishes of food.
We are?
No.
Oh, okay.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. And you can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Basil.